This player's story started me on the path to a player development career and intentionally impacting the lives of athletes. Some of y'all may have heard it, some of y'all may have read it in my book, The Player Development Guide. But I wanted to break down the story, I never have, in detail. So I'm working at the University of Houston, and there's a former player, I'm working at the University of Houston, and University of Houston, I'm working for Coach Tom Herman, and Tom Herman's coming from Ohio State, where Ohio State has a very, very strong alumni base, very, very strong former player network, association, things like that. And the University of Houston was frayed because you had Bill Yeoman, who coached for 27 years, and I think in the next 17 years, no coach stayed more than 7 seasons. So he had this frayed alumni group where you had all these players from the Yeoman era who were there forever, and then these players who played for different coaches in the time, right? Where other big programs, everybody has coaching changes, but you may have a coach there for a long time. Like specifically, Coach Herman coming from Ohio State, there was lengthy tenures of head coaches there. But anyway, he was like, hey, we got to figure this out. We got to get our players in here. We got to get this group, the Yeoman group, connected to this group. We got to get young alumni, all this. So I'm like, sweet. So what we did was we created an event called The Return. I was the one who was leading it, but I had a lot of help from people. And so basically I went on Facebook and was like, hey, we want y'all to come back. We want y'all to be here. And they start tagging people. I'm adding people from that play. We're literally looking at rosters and I'm adding people. And so people are coming back and I'm really excited. People are signing up. And what we did was, one thing that we wanted to do is create it almost like a official visit for a recruit. Give them back that recruiting experience. Like, hey, you're wanted. We want you here. We had the jerseys out. We had the trophies out. We had the step and repeat, the photo drop. We had name tags. We had all the stuff to appreciate the former players. Some of them had never been to TDECU Stadium, which is a newer stadium on campus. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave them opportunity to tour the stadium as well. So it was an incredible event. It really, really went well. And one group that I was really excited to meet was the 1990s groups of Cougs. There was a lot of success in that group. You had Andre Ware, who won the Heisman. You had just the run and shoot and this and that. And just they were lighting up scoreboards, playing great defense. And they were really, really doing great things in the then Southwest Conference. And so as I'm sitting there, there's this player from the 90s, because we had name tags. You kind of see by decade, you could tell who had what name tag. And he just walked in, he was crying. He just saw everybody just start crying. And he was emotional. Well, a lot of people were emotional, right? Doc O'Shea, shout out to Doc O'Shea, he's our trainer. He had been there for like 30 years. He was emotional seeing people. But this player was emotional, but he kept being emotional. He was emotional the entire time. And he was just holding on to his teammates and just holding on to them hard. And I was just kind of sitting there like, man, I'm glad we made this event. This is really, really, impacting him in a way that I haven't seen it impact others there. And so as I'm sitting there, one of the former players, his dad was our radio announcer. His son was on the team. One of our current players' dad, who was the radio announcer, he was a former player on the team who played for his dad, who was a head coach. So it's a lot of links there. The Pardee family. And he saw the player. He's like, man, it's so good to see him, man. It's sad to see him like this, man. He's homeless and he's massively overweight. And he's just like, man, we talked about it for a little bit. And he's like, all right, well, I got to, get out of here. But it was just like the player he sat there as long as he could. And his teammates walked out with him. And I just remember that just was in my mindset. Like, this was a big time player from the 90s whose jersey was in our locker room, right? Or in our facility. His cleats were in the Hall of Fame. His records were all over the wall. And it's just like, man, to see a big time player like this from the 90s in this situation. And I remember it just on my mind, right? It's 1 o'clock. I'm dumping out ice. Yeah, if you want to get in player development, it's more than just doing events. I'm dumping out ice. I'm cleaning up. I think I didn't go home till 2:30 that morning. I should have just stayed. But we had a spring game coming up the next day, so I had to go home, and I just wanted to get some sleep in my own bed. But just remember that being like, sitting there like, man, this is wild, man. Like, and it was just in my head that whole time. It was in my head for the spring football game. Sorry, it was in my head that whole entire week. And I just remember thinking to myself, if he came back, no matter what choices he made, can we help him? Do we have what's set to help him? Can I help him for my role? And I thought about that. Even if he continued to make choices, are we there for him? Because his jersey's still up there, his records are still up there, his cleats are still up there. We still talk about him in the record books, right? Still talk about him as part of our program's history. And that's when I said, you know what? I hung up the proverbial whistle of player development and said, I want to dive in because I want to make sure that none of my players have this situation. Once again, people make choices, but I always just want to make sure that even in the choices you make, you know you can come back home where you shed blood, sweat, and tears. And so that was just something I'll never forget, that alumni event. He came back the next year, and he had, his health was better. He lost some weight. He had found a job. He was on his on his feet, in solid footing. He made some connection with former players. We had conversations, but it was really more the players taking care of one of their teammates, one of their comrades. It was just really great to see him the next year just light up. Instead of all the tears, he had this smile that just wouldn't go anywhere, that wouldn't go away. And so that's the story that changed it all for me. A lot of people are like, hey man, you used to coach, you were a successful high school coach, I knew you want to be a college coach. What happened? That story changed it for me. To see that player like that, right? I remember thinking to myself, I can't sleep if the players that I'm with end up like this, right? So I done as much as I could do in the role, everything that was allowed for me to do and beyond to help. And that is a story that started me on the path to player development. That was it, Alumni. It's an incredible story. I haven't had a chance to meet him, and I probably need to reach out, but he definitely, if I haven't met him, he definitely doesn't know that he changed my life and has changed the life for many of you all. Because of his story and what's happened, I started Beyond the Field. I've been doing a podcast. A lot of you all have got jobs. A lot of you all have found about player development. So that is the story that changed it all. Now, if you're sitting there and you heard some stuff, me talk about some alumni stuff, and you're like, man, that alumni stuff is pretty cool. You're talking about, I really would like to do it. It's in the book, in the section called The Secret Sauce, right? There's 3 sections of this book. What is player development, the Beyond the Field program, the Secret Sauce. The Secret Sauce, I'll talk about alumni engagement. You can order this, and while your book is coming to you, you can watch this video right here if you want to be more intentional with your alumni. As I always say, go out and create generational impact. Don't wait, create that generational impact today, and let me know your stories that got you started on this player development path.